Hi parents. Okay, we begin our new unit on Monday, Living Off the Land, and this unit is pretty different. The layout of this unit is pretty different from our birds unit, and so I wanted to kind of go over a few of the things that are different, as well as kind of preview some of the projects that we're going to be working on to give you a heads up on that. So the first thing I want to highlight for you is in the student books. If you open your student's book, you will find a letter to your student, and there is a QR code here. And this QR code is a link to take you to the extra resources that are available on the Gather Round app. And so if you haven't been accessing the Gather Round app, it's called Gather, and we highly recommend this because there are really great videos for every single lesson that really help to support what is being taught that day. So they're just really fun. Not required, but just extra if you need those or want to add those to your home days. We usually show them on our school days when there's time. And the other thing that you'll find at this link is some of the other resources that are printable. So one of those is the student book supply list. So looks like this, if there is a particular project on for a certain lesson, this document is a one-page front and back. It just lists what supplies you're going to need to complete that project. And so the bulk of the projects we will do at the schoolhouse. However, some of the projects do fall on a home day, and so we might miss that one. And also some of the projects are optional. So for example, candle dipping, that's an optional project because it's quite extensive. And so you can always just watch a video about this if you don't want to try the hands-on. But we will be getting our hands on a lot of the projects at the schoolhouse. And so we look forward to that. But this supply list will just be helpful as you are navigating what you're going to do at home. The next thing that I wanted you to notice is that all the student books, early reader and up, have seat work pages for this unit. So this is also new. We didn't have this with our bird unit, but these are awesome for independent work. So they are the next page after the table of contents, or the table of contents. The next page is the 5 weeks of seat work pages. And they are, for each week, they are a front and a back page. They look like this. What this includes is the scripture for the week and the spelling words that they're working on for the week. I think I forgot to mention that at the very beginning is the recitation page. So students are going to be working to memorize a passage of scripture. So our last unit had just different memory verses, but this unit, all of our scripture work is coming from Psalm 119. And so they're memorizing different chunks each week, and it's just breaking that down for 5 weeks. And so on their seat work, you will find a place for them to write their scripture, a place for them to practice their spelling words, a place for them to practice writing the date, writing, what the weather is like, what the temperature is. And there's also a place for them to identify something about their character that they need to work on. And so this may require you to help them think this through a little bit, but maybe they need to work on patience or showing forgiveness. So they're just finishing this sentence. This week I'm working on, and they're filling in the blank with whatever character quality they might need to grow in. And so you might help them think about what's going on in their world, what maybe the Lord wants to refine in them. And then there's a place on the other side where there's a little prayer. Lord, please help me to be blank today. Again, these are really, really helpful tools for the week. We will be looking through this through the week at the schoolhouse, but I highly recommend getting these done at home because this is great independent work. Maybe like at a morning time in a morning basket, this could be done. And they could break it up into 2 days if they want to. And then we'll be working on their spelling words at school. So however you want to do it at home, I wanted to make sure you knew about it, and so that they can be working on those. The next thing is the lesson comes, or the unit comes with a very extensive appendix. So there is a lot of resources for the students to do their different projects in the appendix. One of the things is a vocabulary cheat sheet, and that looks like this. It's in the appendix. And so, like I said, the seat work pages, they're going to have new spelling words each week and a new portion of their scripture each week. And so the vocabulary cheat sheet is helpful because the spelling words are on one side, but then the vocab words are words that are introduced in each lesson. And we are going to be creating a little vocabulary flip book. So this is separate from the spelling. So they'll practice their spelling words with their seat work pages, and we will have them at the schoolhouse be in groups according to, like, all early readers will be in a group to practice their spelling words, and so forth, early elementary and upper elementary. So they all have, all the ones who have the same spelling words will practice their spelling words together in groups. But the vocab words, we're going to create flip books at school. And so each lesson, they're going to be adding to their page, basically. So adding to their flip book. If they forget to do that on a home day, that's totally fine. We will have them do it on Tuesday and Thursday when they're at school. But the lesson does give you a reminder. So like lesson 1 on Monday, it looks like this. In the corner of their student book, it has a place where it reminds them for vocab time. And it shows them what their words are, and it tells them to add these words and their definitions to their book, to their vocabulary book. So the way that they can get those definitions easily is to go to their vocab cheat sheet, find out what the definition is, and they can write that or draw a picture of it to help them remember. If they don't want to write the definition, they can just draw a picture, and then they'll be quizzing each other and doing that to master those words throughout the week. So I wanted you to know where to find all of that. The next thing I wanted to bring to your attention is the fact that the unit encourages or suggests an optional diorama for kids to create. And we are going to be at school creating some of the items that could go in a diorama. However, we are not going to see the diorama to completion. So to be a little bit more specific, on Tuesday, kids are going to be making a miniature covered wagon. And so that could easily be put in a diorama, taken home and put into a diorama at home if they choose to do that. And then we will also be creating miniature log cabins. So again, this is an optional activity for what you want to do with those items. I think a diorama would be really fun to do, but it's not required. And but we will be working on those 2 pieces at the schoolhouse. The other project that we will be doing is our writing project for this unit. And the writing project is an autobiography. And we are going to do the same thing we did for the last writing project for our last unit. So there will be a lesson for students to do brainstorming and kind of brainstorming what they want to write about for their autobiography about themselves. Then there will be a separate lesson for them to create their rough drafts. And then another lesson for them to proofread and edit. And then finally, the last lesson will be or the next lesson will be for them to make their final copies. And so after they have made their final copies, we will be doing the presentations again. And so I want to just give that highlight so you would know that that's coming. And we will send out more information about presentation day when we know exactly when we're going to be doing those. But I wanted just to make sure you had a heads up. So if there is a writing day at home, just to make sure that your kiddo is getting it done. And then even if the writing day is not a home day, if you could just, get eyes on their progress from brainstorming to making a rough draft, so that we can they did so well last unit. And so we want to get them to that same place for this autobiography project. And then the last thing that we're going to be doing is we are going to be doing a read aloud for Little House on the Prairie. And we are not going to have time to read the whole book at the schoolhouse. So we're going to take certain chapters and we're going to read those aloud and read as much of it as we have time for. So anyways, I think that is the bulk of the things I wanted to give a heads up on. I will send probably a follow-up email with some links that you might need. If there's any questions about anything that I hit on tonight, then just reach out. But we're gonna have a lot of fun with this unit. So we will see you next week. See you on Tuesday.